Well, hello.
Hello. Been looking at Steam decks. I'm lusting after them.
Did you see MSI's deck?
The
that's
claw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That just makes me think of liar.
Yes, was this
like
week.
Still the claw.
Yeah. I don't know that I read a single article about that thing that took the name seriously.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, the claw was also like what you would call like that weird hand position you have to do with just like I remember like, oh yeah, for this mini game you got to do the claw, where you like have like the, where you don't hold the controller like this, you hold it like sideways.
Yeah.
So you
like
can
every time
your
I
fingers
want
faster.
to be more dexterous while running in a From Software game.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of running, it might have been one of those things you did during the, like in the early GTAs, where you could infinite sprint.
Button mash.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those were the days.
Oh, yeah. All the interesting little tips and tricks you learn of how to manipulate the controller as you grow up.
Yeah, well, I think also like I think about this a lot, but like the fact that we grew up in the, internet is like a thing, but not really very accessible era, where like you could look up stuff, but like you just have to remember it or print it out because you weren't gonna be able to find that site again or whatever.
Yeah, man.
Or
if
you did, like it would say something else.
I knew every single one of my friends' phone numbers by heart.
Yeah.
I don't know any of your numbers now.
Yeah, you have to like print out like the combos and stuff for games because like you couldn't remember those things. You just have to like have a stack of paper sitting there.
Except for Contra, like everyone remembers the Contra code.
No, Konami. That was for all Konami games. That was easy.
Yeah,
People
the
would print that
Konami
on
code
t-shirts.
in general. You're right.
Yeah. No, but I was talking with Marcus about this recently because he's been playing Final Fantasy 12. And when I got Final Fantasy 12, I was living in Sweden, going to like school, and just for like a year abroad, my mom sent me it to play, which thankfully I had an American PS2 with me. But she also, like, the guy at the GameStop, wherever she bought it, like, told her, like, you have to buy him the strategy guide with this game. And my mom was like, okay, fine. Because she, like, the same thing had happened, like, many years earlier. But anyway, but the thing is, you actually do need it, especially for the original version, because in order to get the Zodiac Spear, the best weapon of the game, in order for that to be something you can pick up later, you have to not open specific chests throughout the game. And those specific chests are completely unmarked. They look exactly like every other chest in the game. But if you open any of these chests, it will prevent the ultimate weapon from spawning.
That's so fucking weird.
And there is literally no way of knowing it unless you have like the strategy guide.
Cool mechanic to put in a game that requires outside information to know.
Yeah, and like I said, like the internet was a thing, obviously, but it wasn't like, like you could just have your phone open while you were playing the game. You know what I mean?
No, we've talked about it. I'm pretty sure on here about like ruining printers, like just getting like whole Pokemon Red and Blue strategy guides printed out.
I remember I had I printed a Final Fantasy VII fanfic I had found out of my mom's work computer and brought it home.
Hell yeah.
And the thing was, like, it ended up, like, being weirdly prescient for, like, a lot of the Final Fantasy stuff that came later.
Interesting.
Like, both the movie and then Dirge of Cerberus. I was like, hey, that actually sounds a lot like that fanfiction I read.
I thought you were going to say, oddly enough, it got weirdly horny the further in I got.
It didn't, actually. I was surprised. I mean, maybe I was too young when I used to actually read fan fiction, so I just didn't notice horny things. But I don't remember accidentally reading horny fan fiction. It might have also been like, I don't know. No, fan fiction's always been horny. I don't know. I probably just didn't notice it.
Yeah. You thought Cloud was just biting his lower lip to gain more concentration for the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. So speaking of long-winded RPGs, should we start talking about the game?
I guess so. It's a long one, so we should probably get into it.
All right. Welcome to The Save State, a podcast where we play a video game and talk about it.
Yes.
Today we played Yakuza Like a Dragon, or as it's known in Japan, Like a Dragon 7, or as I've been calling it, Yakuza 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that isn't a beat 'em up. This is like the big switch 'em up. So you get a new protagonist, get a new gameplay style.
Yep.
It's like a whole
new
game.
Bait and switch.
That's exactly the same as the last game. I mean, not really. It does a good job of continuing the tone of the Yakuza series. It still feels like a Yakuza game.
It does. Which, brave on them to change things so much. Like, not just a complete new battle system, new character, new main character, and we're still doing Yakuza. New area, not stomping around Kamurocho as much.
Yeah, new city completely.
Yeah, it pulled it off, and I'm surprised. Oh, yeah. I didn't want to like the new hero, Ichiban.
I think what works so well with this character is the fact that you have a party of other characters that you are with constantly throughout the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, yeah, Ichiban or however, as an individual, he's kind of a okay bland protagonist, but like he works well by playing off of other people's personalities. So like a part of the big like gimmick for this game is that Ichiban is kind of insane, and he just literally thinks he's in an RPG all the time.
Yes.
Like he explains it as just a way of visualizing combat, but I like he also at certain points will think he's fighting like ogres and stuff.
Yeah, he's obsessed with the Dragon Quest series, which actually becomes very important for like thematic tones that they use for visualization much later on.
Yeah. Although I did think it was interesting they went with Dragon Quest, because Dragon Quest is a Square Enix property, and this is a Sega property. When Sega has Phantasy Star in their back pocket right there.
Yeah, but even they know it's not as good as Dragon Quest.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, but it is interesting
like
that they didn't just...
People don't call out of work for a new Phantasy Star release. They do for Dragon Quest.
I don't know. I've called out of work for lesser things.
Sure.
But I have a podcast about video games. It allows for those other characters to have bigger roles than I think the other Yakuzas do, where even if you have like multiple main characters, you're always just that main character, and then you'll have like a cutscene where the other characters come in. So with this, by having like a bunch of characters that you're always with, I think it really helped open up the writing, because you can have like multiple characters arcs and character growth going on at the same time, and it also allows the newness of this protagonist to breathe a little, so you're not just stuck in the game with this new character. You are in like a there's other things going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because you're right. There's not like he is the main character, but the rest of the party is so well written. Most of the characters of the party that you gain are so well rounded and written that yeah, I couldn't see just playing as one person through this whole story. Like you do need those other party members to round it out. I don't know. This is such a different game. It's hard to like talk about because it is a Yakuza, but it's not a Yakuza. So much of it is the same in that, like, the story beats. Like, again, we have someone who is coming out of prison after a substantial amount of time has passed, having served a sentence for a crime they didn't commit. It's very much following the Kiryu arc again. So it feels like familiar territory, but with all of the change up and his personality, like Ichiban's personality alone, like it's so different that it kind of plays more into the zany parts of like Yakuza 0 and Kiwami.
Yeah, but also like more into the heartfelt, nice, like comfortable nice guy parts.
He's very much like an anime protagonist, like My Hero Academia kind of, come on guys, if we all just care about each other, everything can be okay.
Yeah, well, which they do a good job of juxtaposing. I can't believe I said that word, but like, I guess that's the word.
Yeah.
Where you have like the anime character protagonist, or just kind of bland superhero. I mean, he isn't really bland because again, he's literally out of his mind. But like you do have to deal with like storylines about like prostitution and homelessness and like like gentrifying and all this other stuff.
Sure.
Where, yeah, exactly. Where like having that character is not something you're used to seeing in anything. Like you get those kind of story beats in other more realistic stories, but they always have to have realistic characters. So having like fantasy characters with these kind of realistic stories, I think makes it feel even more realistic, because you are just kind of like, they're not fantastic characters in the sense that they're like, unrealistic to real life. They're just the embodiments of singular, ways of looking at things. And it really does, like, you feel much more part of, like, it feels much more like down on the streets in Yakuza 7 than the other ones do. Where the other ones all feel like these grand feudal battle things, like really they're almost more samurai story than like crime drama.
Yes.
Where like Yakuza 7 feels almost like a dragon, or whatever you want to call it. It feels like we're kind of like more in like an actual crime, like the way, like a look at a crime-ridden area, a look at like the way crime affects communities, a look like it is much more of a realistic depiction. And also that's part of, like, I think that's helped by the way they kind of move through the story, where it's almost like an episodic, like picaresque story where he's just kind of going to different, like, this is the homelessness episode, and this is the brothel episode, and this is the extortionist episode, where he's kind of moving through the different layers of society, as opposed to like Kiryu, where he's like, I have a mission and I'm going to go do this and punch things that are in my way until I find the solution to that. Like it's definitely, it feels like, as much as you're exploring, like Kiryu always knew where he was and where he stood, and even when he just rolled up into a new town, Ichiban is learning his place and learning the world around him as you are. So it becomes like it becomes much more of a interesting exploration. Feels much more rewarding in that sense, I felt.
Yeah. I think they did a good job of adjusting the tone on the world building, especially in that way. Like, I don't recall in previous series seeing rivers like just flowing with trash through them. Like they weren't afraid to show the dirty parts of a city, right? Where in previous playthroughs of like Kamurocho and those areas, those districts are, even the seedier parts, they're clean, they're well like maintained. The developers really took their time to make everything look nice and realistic to go through, and this still feels real. It might even feel more real because they were okay with it looking dirty, like not perfect.
Yeah, and I think also like Kamurocho is supposed to be like a red light entertainment district, whereas your experience of Yokohama is several different areas. Like I feel like it's bigger than Kamurocho. So you end up with there's like a shopping district, you end up through some really like dilapidated poor districts, like a nice new renovated waterfront district. So it's it feels like they were trying to like capture little snippets of a city, almost like they tried and kind of failed with 5, where this version, like this Yokohama, feels like, okay, I've got like, this is why it's a different city. Whereas like I think the only time they've ever done that successfully outside of Kamurocho is Sotenbori, where they make it really kind of like they double down on all the very Osaka things. I don't know how to identify the Osaka accent, but I know that they go hard on making sure everyone's got the right dialects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they did that with the other ones.
Now, they did a really good job with level design, I guess I should say. It definitely does feel bigger. I don't know if it actually is, but
that's true.
Because of the way the combat works alone, I mean, you always got pulled into combat, right off the streets in previous games, but this one really, that transition, like, really solidifies entering combat. It takes so much longer to do combat. So many times, like, Kiryu grabs a sign, swings, combat over, right?
Yeah.
This one, it takes a minute. Like, even fast fights are going to take a minute to complete.
Yeah, because it's turn-based. It's like, it's a very simplified turn-based combat. Like, I think that is the one thing that I think let me down. Maybe was like, it has all these job systems you can class people into, and like they have their own job classes, and as you level up, there's like more abilities you get and more equipment you can use and all that jazz. But it did kind of feel like a lot of the classes were very similar, or they just had the same. Like you had like 5 abilities that you were just shuffling around between different.
I only
classes.
changed Kiryu out to the foreman.
Kiryu?
Or not Kiryu, Ichiban.
Yeah.
Still have that in my head. To the foreman just to pick up the skill. So that is what I liked about the job system, and I wish I'd seen more instances of needing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the ability to, much like in a Final Fantasy game, respec into a job system, get deep enough into it that you gain an ability from it that you can use no matter what job you're in, and then go back to another job. Now you've gained this extra ability that kind of makes it more complex. In reality, the foreman, it just helped me tear down barricades to get to different areas, which, great, but it didn't, like, I wasn't excited when new jobs came in. I stayed the hero the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I felt like it wasn't, there was a lot of ones where you'd like, your special ability was not that particularly useful.
Yeah.
Or something you really wanted to use, or was too similar to something you would get anyway with another class. Like, I felt like there needed to be more classes and there needed to be more abilities to really, like, make the turn-based thing kind of worth it. In a way, it almost feels like a very simplified RPG. Like, maybe even, like, the original Dragon Quest, which I've never played, but maybe it's this simple. But it felt like you were shuffling around cards almost. Like, there just wasn't enough difference between the classes.
The shuffling around cards is a great analogy for the literal way, like, positioning works in combat.
Yeah.
Because you have no control over your character's movement, but people are moving, much like in like a real scrap or fight. Like, you're going to start circling each other and try to, like, get to different positions. This game doesn't allow you to control that part of it at all, but it will reward or penalize you for trying to attack someone if you are in a good or bad position. Like, if there's a sign in the way, you might pick up the sign on your way to go, like, attack them and use that as a weapon. But if there's a shrub, you may bump into the shrub and you've lost, like, your turn trying to get to them. Or you walk through an enemy's pathway on the way to another enemy and they kick you, and that's it. That's your turn lost. Some very frustrating stuff with positioning, which makes AoE attacks both, like, the most important thing in the game and also the hardest thing to pull off if you're not paying attention to the position of an enemy.
Yeah, I mean, like, it felt like what you had to do in every battle was the first thing you did was do an AoE while they were all bunched up.
Yep.
And then, like, that would just get rid of half of them. Like, you just needed to always make sure that was the first thing you did.
Yep.
Which I think was okay. Like, I didn't really mind how simple the combat was a lot of the time. But, like, when it came to, like, the challenge areas and, like, when it was trying to, like, really be like, oh, we're an RPG, do some grinding, I was like, I don't know if I'm really interested in doing that too much.
I didn't give myself enough time to grind. So, like, when there was a challenging fight, which there were just a few, but, like, when they were challenging, they were really challenging. I just wish with that movement mechanic in combat, I wish they had leaned into that more. I wanted to see more abilities where you couldn't, like, you're not just targeting someone to, like, pick them up and drop them on the ground and slam them down, but, like, pick them up, and maybe you then get to choose like a spot that you can throw them to, right? Get a little more interaction and control on how to reposition enemies for combos. I don't know. I liked the combat. I thought it was very fun. I want to see them get more complex with it.
Exactly, yeah.
I hope they keep working on that. And I know they will. That's what they do with all their stuff, is just refine it over time. But
yeah,
I don't know. It seemed lacking. Just a few things here and there with it.
Yeah, like I think for the first like 20 hours or so of the game, I was like, oh, okay. Well, once we get into the later stages, this is really going to open up. And it never really seemed to do that. It just kind of seemed like, oh, I found these classes, and I'm just going to stick with them because I always need to have a healer. I always need to have someone who can do all the different elemental damages.
Yep.
I'll just leave Ichiban the hero, and then that leaves a 1/4 spot to be tank. Whatever, you know. Yeah.
Get the enforcer, you got the musician, you got the idol. You're pretty much good to go. That's how I ran mine.
Yeah, I think like I always had an idol.
Mm-hmm.
I think you kind of have to.
That is something that was frustrating. I wanted to see more jobs. So the jobs are more or less broken up into like universal jobs versus gender restricted jobs.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also like individual jobs.
And individual. But I wanted to see more individual, like super specialized, where only a person could learn, like that specific person could get deep into that job. And then maybe mix in the relationship mechanic, where the deeper your relationship with them is, maybe you can start to like cross-train in their unique jobs. That could have been fun. Like play with that more.
I feel like they kind of wanted to do that because, like, you need to have certain relationship levels to have them use certain classes. Mm-hmm. But it felt like you unlocked them pretty early on. Like it felt like it wasn't really a big commitment to try and like unlock stuff.
Yeah, and I want, like, I like that so many things opened up right away, but I also want there to be deeper systems that encourage me to keep going. And it just didn't feel like there were enough for as long a game as it was. I didn't have enough time to like pour hours and hours into the business minigame, as fun as it all was, or the kart racing or any of that shit. Like it was fun, but
that's where I think the game really shined for me, or shone, was just like, I mean, the side quests or the side stories or whatever you want to call them are typical Yakuza good stuff. Like they don't, they're all the same kind of goofy, interesting combination of stories. But like I did like all the little side things, like the kart racing and the bottle pickup game and the business simulator, even like the going to the movies mini game was a lot of fun.
Just trying not to fall asleep.
Yeah, like I think that those were my favorite parts. I mean, they're always my favorite parts of games, really. But this was like, I think they did a great job with all of that. Where normally, like, I would just kind of, okay, I'm gonna go do this now, and then I'd binge all of that, and then go do something else, and I binge all that. I really like to kind of like pace myself and run around the city, and I'm like, oh, I have to go do this for this quest. And then I'd run by one of the mini games. I'm like, oh, I'll just dip in here and do this.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it really, if you're not rushing the game to try and do it for a pod, it really like kind of lets you live in the place a lot better. Like it feels really comfortable. And so like this is a game that it's probably much more vibes heavy than any of the other Yakuzas, except for maybe 3, just because it is just like a hangout game most of the time. Because the reason why Ichiban, I think, sometimes is a bit of a bland character, so you can kind of like put yourself in his shoes, so you could be like, oh, these are my friends.
Oh,
and
no,
I'm doing
absolutely. This with them. Like, yeah, he is the everyman character, where Kiryu was more like
your dad.
Yes, very, very much dad energy. Which it's funny too, because they're basically the same age. They're both like in their 40s at this point. But Ichiban's
Kiryu is older.
Is he
Kiryu's
older?
Way older. He's like 20 years older. So I mean,
it's impossible to tell from the way they present the characters.
Ichiban he went to jail in 2000.
Yeah, he was there.
He was 18
years too, right?
No, he was there for 20. Yeah, he was 18 when he went to jail in 2000. So he would have been born in 82. and Kiryu was born in 78. So
pretty close to each other then, but
I mean, it's 14 years. I mean, it's not close, but not. He's not quite old enough to be his dad, but not like young enough to be a sibling. I guess he could be a sibling.
You said Kiryu was born in 78?
68.
Oh,
sorry.
68. Okay, yeah, then that is 14 years. I was like, I think I'm just getting 4.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. No, yeah,
unacceptable.
So they are different. Although, like, the problem is also they can't age Kiryu too much because he still has to do stuff and kick butt. And
I don't know. I could see them like getting to a point where it's just old, wrinkled Kiryu still like.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do that thing where they flip a switch and he's just all of a sudden got a big beard and kind of hunched over and like a crotchety old man kind of a thing. Or I don't know. Maybe they'll just do Wolverine with him and be like, no, he's 137 years old. Who cares?
That would kind of be interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, but the series could actually go that way if they keep going down this kind of sillier route.
Well, I say that this one doesn't have as many of those like crazy, like fantastic moments in it. Like the only one, like a lot of it you can attribute to just Ichiban being a Looney Tunes, and you're just kind of seeing the world through
overactive imagination. Yes.
Yeah, there is a place you get to, one of the dungeons, that feels like it was taken out of like one of the Persona dream worlds, and it's very striking imagery, and almost impossible to be in real, but at the same time not quite unreal, and the actual circumstances around it aren't actually that insane. Like they're a little strange, but not something you wouldn't conceivably happen in the real world. But other than that, I think it's pretty grounded the whole time.
Yeah, they do a good blend of that like fantasy silliness from Ichiban's perspective, and then showing the actual world from everyone else's, like from the outside perspective, which also helps you relate more to Ichiban during the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the way he is seen an enemy tells you a lot about how he sees the world in general.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I liked it. Especially at the end. That was a good payoff. There's a few cutscenes right near the end that setting up Dragon Quest being his favorite game in the beginning really pay off. And I appreciated that. Yeah,
the last act of this game, story-wise, was very fun. I don't know how much the boss fights and the combat, I was like, oh, whatever. I mean, that's the end game stuff. But the story and the cutscenes was really fun. There's a lot of fan service as well if you've been playing all the Yakuzas that you really like kind of geek out on too.
Yeah.
So
there was one boss fight that was like a surprise one that wasn't like the big surprise, but was a good surprise. I found that boss fight to be very difficult, because I had not done a lot of grinding at that point, and I was just getting dropped left and right constantly.
Dropped or tiger dropped.
You got it.
Yeah, no, it's I look forward to seeing what happens in the next one now. A lot.
Yeah, me too. Let me ask you this, since you're a little more connected and aware of the series. Is the intermission game, The Man Who Erased His Name, a turn-based, or is it a brawler?
No, it's a brawler. It's back to the beat-em-up style. Yeah, so I think, generally speaking, if... Like, I don't know if what they're gonna do with Kiryu going forward, but I don't think the Kiryu forward content is going to be turn-based stuff. So I think that's
interesting.
I don't know. Like, it's a good question, because I don't know because like the most recent brawler beat 'em up games they made have been the Judgment games. So I don't know if The Man Who Erased His Name is using that combat system, or if they're using the like Yakuza 6 stuff, or if it's the same. Maybe, I don't even know. I haven't played much of Judgment
Interesting.
at all. So.
Yeah. No, I haven't either. I wanted to wait to dive in. So I've got the first one downloaded and ready to go, but not on it yet. Any other thoughts about this one?
I mean, like we've talked about like entry points into the Yakuza series. I feel like this is a pretty good one.
Sure.
But like, if you are someone who doesn't do turn-based RPGs, this might be hard to get into because it does kind of try and harken back to the older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if turn-based RPGs are a problem for you, like, you kind of need the commitment of knowing the setting and some of these characters to kind of probably push through the combat system. Like, I feel like this worked well because either you were a Yakuza fan and you like turn-based games. You already like turn-based games. So if you were someone who is coming into this and not really a turn-based game kind of guy, this would probably put you off.
Mm-hmm.
And also, this was like the first one that had an English dub, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that there was like a certain amount of like corporate idea that this would be a lot of people's first game.
Yeah.
And like I said, if long turn-based games are an impediment to you, this is not going to be a good place to start with Yakuza games. But I also feel like you could totally just play this one and not need to play the other ones to kind of get where things are going to go.
I think that's fair. I actually want to talk to you about the dub, because you played with the dub, right?
No, I played in Japanese.
Oh, you played the Japanese too.
I knew that there were some characters from the other games that would show up later on, and I do not want to know what they sound like in English. Yep. No offense to all the very good voice actors.
So have you gone to YouTube and watched some cutscenes with the dub on? Because I did, just to see what they sound like.
Yeah, they're pretty...
I've only heard... The wild thing is I've only heard good things from people about the English dub of it. Everyone's like, oh, no. The voice acting's great. Like, they're nailing the characters spot on. I'm like, I mean, it's good. It's not as good as hearing the, like, actual voice actors from the series over time.
Exactly. Like, because we've played 7 of these games, like, I have such an idea of how the dialogue's supposed to sound and, like, all the noises.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like... I just it's part of the milieu of the game at this point.
Yep.
So I can't really
it's as jarring as seeing who they cast for like the characters from a book series you love, and you're like, oh, that is not how I've pictured that character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, except for Lord of the Rings, which was the most perfect casting job in the history of film.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever, like, I remember when seeing Lord of the Rings, and I was like, no, this is pretty much exactly who I imagined all these people would be.
Yeah, they did a pretty good job with that one. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Why are we talking about this? Oh yeah, the dub. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I don't know that I'm gonna try and play with the dub, but I'm also like I'm not like a anti-dub person necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like content, like Japanese stuff or other language stuff that I think can work just fine with dubs.
Sure.
Like I still think the Ghost in the Shell English dub is actually pretty decent because they're mostly talking through telepathy anyway, so there's all they have to line up the mouth movements or anything like that. So those situations are fine.
Great voice acting. I mean, also heard it on the English dub before I heard it, original style. So
no, it's funny watching. I've been watching like one of those more anime Transformers shows with my nephew, and they have there's like a bunch of kids that run around and talk, like not kids but teens, and then you have like the Transformers who talk to each other, and there's like a huge gulf in like the writing quality from when like the Transformers are talking, because they don't have to like make their mouths move or anything, so they can just have a literal translation that like of what the guys are saying, and then the kids just like the most cliche anime like Pokemon, the cartoon translation stuff, where they just make random noises in the middle of sentences in order to make the mouth movements line up and that sort of thing.
Good God.
It's an interesting thing. I do not envy the people who have to try and make that work.
No, I don't either.
But I know that was also something that they, like in The Witcher, I know that when they did, or The Witcher 3 at least, I know when they did the different language dubs, they actually had like some procedural like computer way of making the mouths line up to the different languages.
That makes sense.
As opposed to trying to line up the dialogue to the mouth movements. I think a lot of games do that. So I don't know if this one would do that or not.
Yeah.
But it'll be also interesting seeing Yakuza. This next Yakuza is obviously set partially in America, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Like, I mean, Danny Trejo is in this. I'm assuming he's not going to speak Japanese. Maybe he does speak Japanese. I don't know. It would not surprise me at all. Like, that would not surprise me at all if he did. But I don't know if they're going to, like, dub him over with a Japanese voice actor or just have him speak English and then they do Japanese subtitles.
Maybe. I mean, I could see it going that way, too. Yeah, there is at least one thing that happened in this game that I am happy I had it in the original Japanese for, which was the exams you can take.
Yeah,
the way all of that
English
started.
Ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how to get to the train station? So fantastic.
Yeah.
That would not have hit as well if I was playing the whole thing in English.
Like, I don't even know what they would do. Like, would they make the other guy speak Japanese or something?
Huh, interesting. Yeah. That is got to be the hardest part of translation, is like the jokes and stuff, because they're always so culturally based that you need to find an equivalent for whoever you're trying to translate it over.
And like the wordplay and stuff too, like puns and stuff. Like, like I was, there are so many things where I'm like, I don't even know how people translate stuff. Like that is like Umberto Eco wrote about that a lot, where I'm just like, I don't. Like Umberto Eco translate a lot of stuff too, as well as being like a writer guy, and I'm just like, I don't even know how you do this, especially like, and it's hard enough when you're just doing like languages that have enough in common, like going from 2 Germanic languages or 2 like European languages or whatever, but like trying to get like the like literal, like trying to dub over dialogue using the same jokes equivalent in English for like an entirely different. I don't even know how people do it.
Yeah.
It sounds impossible.
It really does sound impossible. I have a lot of respect for those people.
Especially because like there's so much like Japanese humor that is just based off of like the fact that they have 3 different alphabets. So you just have like, you not only have like wordplay puns, but you have like literal like alphabetical puns that you can play off of. And then like those things mean multiple things. And and sometimes it's based off of the sound of a word that kind of is similar to another word, or it'll be that like there's literally a symbol within that kanji that looks like something else, and where it's just like, that's so different than how we structure things, where here we're like butthole. Well, I'm sure there's a lot of butthole in Japan too.
Oh no, I'm sure. Again, that's probably one of those kanji that they just like point to a spot of it and they're like, yeah,
exactly.
A lot of hidden penis and imagery, I'm sure.
Probably. All right. Well, with that, we should probably move on.
Let's hit stop real quick, though.
Okay. On the recording?
Yeah, because I have to use the restroom.
Oh, okay. You got any news for us, Mike?
Do I have news? I mean, I guess so.
Okay.
News.
All right. What's the news?
Vampire Survivors.
Oh, what now?
That's it. You know, this is actually like small beans news. It was the end of the year. They wanted to do a little wrap up and kind of go over everything that they've accomplished for the year. They won a lot of awards, a few BAFTAs that were pretty impressive, and they wanted to lay out their roadmap going forward. They still are pretty tight-lipped about the forthcoming anime series, which I'm very excited about and have been watching a lot of the trailers for the DLC to get a taste for what it's going to look like when that show comes out. And it's so exciting. But they're plugging along really good on their roadmap for online co-op. So it won't just be on the couch. And I can't wait for that. Going to have to play some together when that happens.
Yeah, probably. Have to do that.
And no, they're just they've got a long list. I think I counted 10 patches that are going to be coming out along the way, and most of them are going to be free content updates. They said are going to be roughly equivalent to Whiteout. So that's all very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I love a game that actually like sets up like a roadmap and it sticks to it. Yeah, I mean, that's what have been like the one saving graces for World of Warcraft like the past year. Has just been like, oh, they actually have been keeping to their roadmap. Like, that's amazing. Yeah, but I mean, most of the news this week's been like CES was this week, so it's all hardware stuff. Yeah, and I just, as much as I can be interested in like, ooh, look, the new 4000 Super series are out or whatever, it's not really fun to talk about.
We're not talking about the claw for the next 30 minutes?
No, I don't think we're going to talk about the claw.
That's fair.
I don't know. Unity's firing a bunch of people. That's fun.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. People, less people to share the profits with then.
Yeah. Not a lot of stuff to talk about. Yeah. I have a quiz though, if you want to do a quiz. Unless you have more news.
I mean, it's just bummer news. Like just AI in video game news.
Oh yeah. You know, Square Enix being like, "Oh, we're going to dedicate more time to AI in the future."
Yeah, it's a lot of that stuff. It's like the terms that were agreed upon during the SAG-AFTRA strikes. They settled on some things for voice actors that people in the gaming industry are not happy about. Steve Bloom's been very vocal critic of all of this and has been saying he doesn't know anyone in the community that is happy with this deal.
I think SAG-AFTRA probably looks down. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they view video game voice actors as lesser members.
Well, just look at how much they're trying to replace like voice actors in animated movies and with
exactly.
Chris Pratt or others.
Well, that's been going on since Aladdin, though. That's not a new thing.
Sure. But at least in Aladdin, for the most part, like...
Well, I'm not saying Aladdin started. I mean, Aladdin started it. It did a good job with it.
Robin Williams was as much a voice actor as he was anything else.
Yeah, I mean, and they literally tailored the animation around him. But since then, it's just been like, oh, we need to have a... Like, I was watching the... God, what was it? The English dub of Princess Mononoke recently. There are so many names in there that don't need to be there.
Sure.
You know, it's like they have like such a huge cast of like actors. Like Billy Bob Thornton is there as like the old weird man, but like that could have been anyone else. That didn't need to be Billy Bob Thornton. I don't know.
Well, it should have been anyone else because, and I like Billy Bob Thornton. It's just that that's not what they trained for. Like, they did not train for voice acting. It is a very specific type of acting. And it's hard in its own ways because it's just you in a sound booth often.
Well, I think also, like, that type of voice acting, like cartoon voice acting has always been a little lent towards, like, it's for children, so it's a little camp, blah, blah, blah. But I think that also means that it's viewed as, like, lesser. Like, this is not something you have to actually have to try at. Yeah, I don't agree, but I think that's kind of a way public perception goes about it. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, I mean, the thing is, I also just don't think that like the generative AI quote unquote thing that we have right now. I don't think is as powerful as people are selling it. I think it's just going to result in a lot of crappy products that aren't going to get sold very well. Mm-hmm. I mean, how much of Baldur's Gate 3 sold on the fact that it had like that voice acting? Like, people have been talking about how great that voice acting since it, like, for all year basically. And you know, I don't think if you replace them with AI, you're going to have even half the game that Baldur's Gate 3 was.
I think the concerns are that because of the way technology grows, if they put enough time and resources into it, they will be able to one day just load the Steve Bloom file and have his voice ready to go in any way they want to manipulate it.
I think that that's true, but like being able to actually get like human inflection and all that stuff, sure. I don't think that that's where that's going to be. You're still going to have some guy who's, even if they can do just upload the Steve Bloom file, who's going to have to like tweak audio to like to actually make things sound like people are talking.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is like it's bad. Like the way the AI isn't necessarily this big bad terrible thing that's taking over the world, but like. It's being used shittily. I don't know.
Yes,
I feel like we've had this conversation 1,000 times already.
So many times, and we're fortunate enough that we'll get to keep having them because it's not going away anytime soon.
All right, so how about a fun quiz?
Okay.
So last week I talked about we still did the Steam Awards, which I joked was becoming the new People's Choice Awards in their relevancy. Then I remember there was a little thing called the Kids' Choice Awards, which is something Nickelodeon does.
Yes,
if you remember. I think I've probably seen, just because I watched a lot of Nickelodeon as a kid, more Kids' Choice Awards than I've seen Oscars in my lifetime.
I would agree with that. But
they have a video game section. They've had best video game since 1995.
Interesting.
But I'm not going to start there. So these are all generally games that are kid-focused. So there's no Red Dead Redemption 2 on here, all right?
Okay, all right.
And I'm going to start with 2010 and go through to 2019, just because this is the most fun stretch of awards here. And I'll give you the nominees, and you have to tell me who won best video game.
I like this.
So 2010, we have Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, Mario Kart Wii, Wii Fit, and Wii Sports Resort.
It's going to be that Mario Kart Wii.
That's correct.
Absolutely. Fucking slam dunk on that one.
And here's where here's where things get fun. All right. Next we have Just Dance 2, Mario vs. Donkey Kong Miniland Mayhem, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Ooh. Might be Just Dance 2.
That's correct. Just Dance 2. All right. In 2012, we've got Just Dance 3, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, Mario Kart 7, and Super Mario Galaxy. I'll point out that Super Mario Galaxy 2 was nominated before Super Mario Galaxy.
Sure was. It's probably going to be Lego Star Wars The Complete Collection on that one.
It is, in fact, Just Dance 3.
Damn, Just Dance was having a moment.
Yeah. 2013, we have Mario Kart 7 gets nominated again.
Sure.
As well as Just Dance 4, Skylander Giants, and Wii Sports. Again, one that's already been nominated.
Well, that was Wii Sports Resort before.
Oh, wait. Isn't Wii Sports Resort the sequel to Wii Sports?
Yes, it is. So they again nominated a sequel before the original. Cool job. I am going to say Wii Sports only because that was a classic for me. I love the original Wii Sports. So maybe at that point, kids finally found how awesome bowling in Wii Sports is.
It was in fact Just Dance 4.
God damn Just Dance. What the fuck? I've never played Just Dance. Do we have to play Just Dance?
All right, next we have, for 2014, we have Angry Birds Star Wars, Disney Infinity, Just Dance 2014, or the newcomer, Minecraft.
I mean, I want to say Just Dance 2014, but it's probably going to be Minecraft then. I'm sure at that point, like, the moment it came on the market, it was huge.
It was Just Dance 2014.
Jesus Christ. That's incredible.
All right.
That's incredible.
All right, 2015, they briefly renamed the award Most Addicting Game, but this is the only year they called it that.
Good. Yeah, good. At the height of the opioid pandemic.
We have Angry Birds Transformers. Didn't know that was a thing. Candy Crush Saga, Disney Infinity 2.0, Mario Kart 8, Minecraft, or Skylanders Trap Team.
Definitely not Skylanders. Not Disney Infinity 2.0. You said Mario Kart 8 was on there? Along with Minecraft. It's going to be one of those two. Probably Minecraft at this point. Now it's been out long enough. People are starting to talk about it. YouTube videos are coming up. Mm-hmm.
Yep, you're right. It's Minecraft.
Mm-hmm.
2016, we have some familiar faces. We have Disney Infinity 3.0, Just Dance 2016, Minecraft, Skylanders Superchargers, SpongeBob Hero Pants, and Super Mario Maker.
Huh. Super Mario Maker was really fun. I think I'm gonna go with Super Mario Maker on that one.
The answer is Just Dance
Fuck
2016.
Me. I was really hoping we were done with the Just Dance series. Okay.
All right. 2017, we have Just Dance 2017.
Good God.
Lego Marvel's Avengers, Lego Star Wars The Force Awakens, Minecraft, Paper Mario Color Splash, and Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Oh, like so many of those are really good games. I'm going to assume, though, that it's Just Dance.
It is Just Dance 2017.
Fuck. This is a golden list you found.
2018,
It's
we have
perfect.
For 2018, we have Just Dance 2018.
Yep. Why would
Lego
they stop?
Marvel
They win every year. Every year's a banger.
Lego Marvel Superheroes 2,
Okay.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Minecraft, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Super Mario Odyssey.
They just keep, like, everything's starting to mean nothing as far as words go. I just keep hearing Lego, Star Wars, Mario, and then Just Dance over and over again. Let's keep it rolling. Like, let this train ride. I'm putting all my money on Just Dance.
All right, Just Dance 2018. Yep, you got it.
Holy shit.
So 2019, we've got Just Dance 2019.
What?
Lego The Incredibles, Marvel Spider-Man, Super Mario Brothers Ultimate, and Super Mario Party.
I mean, Marvel Spider-Man was very popular. It was a good game, good storytelling. So, a lot of hard work put into that. Insomniac really proved they could do a superhero story very well. So I'm going to have to give it to Just Dance.
Yep, you're right. All right. And then a bonus question. So from 2020 to 2023, Minecraft won 3 out of 4 for best game.
Okay.
Breaking Just Dance's stranglehold over the
Holy
Kids' Choice Awards. What game won the award that Minecraft did in those 4 years? So in 2020, 2022, and 2023, Minecraft won. But in 2021, it lost to another game.
Okay.
What game in 2021 beat it out?
I'm going to guess Just Dance 2021.
It's a good guess. It's actually Among Us.
Oh, sure. Among Us is huge. I saw that.
Do you know... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I just saw, I didn't even realize, but an Among Us like crossover came out for Vampire Survivors last month.
I saw that too. Yeah, that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what game has been nominated twice and not won that I would have assumed has won, considering the cliches we have about Gen Alpha these days? Fortnite has not won a single
Pretty
award.
wild.
Yeah, I know.
Pretty wild. Although, I guess, was any of the nominations a shooter?
Before Fortnite?
Was Fortnite on the nominations list?
Oh, in since it came out, so 2020.
Gotcha.
It was on the nomination list for 2020 and 2021.
Gotcha. I didn't know if maybe it was like a thing where they were like, maybe we don't promote shooters in Kids' Choice Awards.
Well, Battlefront 2 was on here, so that was not a, I don't know if I'd call that a kid's game.
Yeah,
certainly a
fair.
kid's IP, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very IP heavy, I have to say, even compared to like actual game list. The also Roblox was only nominated once and it did not win.
That's crazy. That's a super popular game with the youth.
I know. 2020 and 2021 did not see a Just Dance nominated, but Just Dance did come back for 2022 and 2023, but obviously did not win.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
we're gonna have to look into Just Dance. Find a popular one for review.
All right, so that's it. That's the quiz.
Cool.
I thought that was hilarious.
Wild. It's pretty wild, yeah.
I mean, I kind of knew it existed because I remember that was one of those things. It's like, did you know the last game for the Wii just came out last week and it was Just Dance 2019 or whatever? I was like, oh, I forgot that it still existed.
Every time I see Just Dance as a video game title, it literally just in my brain is like one of those. Now that's what I call music albums.
Exactly. Yep.
Like,
yep.
And I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, not this one. Just pass it on by. But I don't know. Maybe it's good.
I mean, that would explain why they made that Star Wars dance game back in the day. They needed to get on that Just Dance money.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. I don't know. This doesn't... I mean, aesthetically, the colors, there's a lot of color. I'll give them that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't like playing games where I have to move.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried. I did my time in the DDR mines back when I was in middle school. I don't really want to deal with that anymore.
That's fair. Sorry, I got stuck watching little images of Just Dance, like clips.
Fair.
Just trying to figure out what the craze is all about.
I think I don't know. I mean, like I wonder if it's like also like kids do that in school, like in gym or something. Because like it's like I don't know how a lot of those Wii's ended up in like schools and stuff. I don't know.
It's also very much like if you look at the tie-ins, like the marketing within the game, it is very much like a lot of kids bops. Like it's not actually that, but it's the real songs, but it's like a lot of Billie Eilish and all
with the words,
the hottest
words made nice.
All the hottest songs.
Yeah, I mean that is really just kids bop, but you like enforced dancing.
Looks like there's a lot of Disney tie-in too.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
So, what have you been playing this week, Mike?
Well, still doing Stardew Valley with our buddy. Got into year 2 on that. Finished the community center and working on ending the Joja Mart once and for all. It's been put out of business, but we got to finish up the bundles there. Actually, just last night, got the Willie's boat all fixed, so we're going to the island now. The
nice.
post-game content, which very exciting because I've never done all that. So getting to see some new
I certainly didn't get there here too.
Content. Yeah, I mean, it's a night and day difference with just 2 people. When there was 3 of us, like, holy shit, we were getting stuff done so much. Like, mines were cleared in spring 1. Like, because someone just was able to go in every day. Everyone else was doing their own thing.
Yeah.
We hyper-specialized. Let's see. What else? I was trying to play some of Bramble the Mountain King because I've been hearing so many good things about it, but I was having some internet issues yesterday, as you know. So haven't had a chance to try that yet. I did, however, reinstall Deep Rock Galactic after you were like, oh, it's actually pretty good. And I was like, all right, let me try it again, and I'm liking it. I still think it needs like party members.
Oh, you need to be.
It's not fun solo. So I'm going to see if I can try to talk some people into putting that on their computers again and giving it a try.
Well, the other one I want to try is trying to get enough people to try that Mines of Moria game.
Oh yeah, I've got it. So we can. I've got it through Epic Game Store.
Yeah, I think it's Epic exclusive, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. So yeah, when you pick that up, let me know and I'll get it installed. We can do that. Definitely one of those games that seems like it's going to be better with more people because there's a lot of enemy NPCs like right in the beginning, and it's kind of clunky. Yes, so that is what I've been playing. What have you been playing?
So I'm starting a new run of Book of Hours.
Nice.
'Cause I want to get. I want to start over. I did that a lot with Cultist Simulator, and I kind of want to start over with that. And that's been going good. And I've been trying to find stuff that again to play on my laptop that is interesting to me, but not necessarily going to be interesting to my nephew. The other thing I tried was DWARF Fortress, and it is not a game I can play right now when I only have half my attention on the game. Like, it's just like I turn away for like half a second. Like, wait, what happened? I don't know what's going on here. So I have yet, despite it being over a year since the new Dwarf Fortress has come out, I have been, or the ones with graphics, I have not really played more than 15 minutes of it. 'Cause every time I try and dip in, my brain just turns off. But yeah, that's been going okay. I played the new expansion for The Sims, the For Rent expansion, The Sims 4. It's okay. I don't know. It's not worth the money as usual. It had some stuff that they, I like having, like being able to rent out the apartments and stuff. But it's so useless talking about Sims expansions because they're so, like, compared to what they used to be, they're just so lacking in content, and they're just, it's just depressing.
It always feels like for a lot of those expansions, it feels like that's a feature that should have just been in the game. Like, well, you definitely came up with this feature and then decided, let's pull it out of like the main game and just make a little extra off it.
I mean, I wouldn't say that with this, especially because The Sims 4 has been out for almost a decade now, which seems insane. Yeah. And also, like, rental content is not something a lot of people are like, oh, that's a normal part of life. But there's a lot of that, like swimming pools and toddlers and stuff that weren't originally in the game. Like, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. But I don't know. It's never worth it. Don't play The Sims.
Yeah, I haven't in a long time. I haven't played since Sims 3, and I have no interest in doing Sims 4. I'm interested in that like Sims Challenger game when that comes out. I forget what it was called, but yeah.
Every time every time there's like a Sims thing that comes out, I'm like, this will be the one that I'll find like a thing that makes this Sims 4 for me, and it never is. It's just depressing.
I was going to ask if the adventurer mode that I've heard so much about was active on Dwarf Fortress. That's kind of what I've been waiting for on it.
I think it's coming. If it's not out already, it's coming soon because I saw some patch notes about it. It might be in beta.
That seems exciting. Like, that's what I've been waiting to get the game for that feature.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming soon. Like I said, if it's not out already, it's in the beta build. I was never a big adventure mode player with Dwarf Fortress, so I haven't really kept abreast of that, but I think it's coming pretty soon.
I just think it's a really cool idea that you can, like, play dynasties out, and like as you're playing that game, you're world building the other game.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. Like okay, adventure mode's coming in April. It says, according to.
Well, I guess I'll be playing Dwarf Fortress in April.
Yeah, no, I think it's fun. Like, I think it's a great idea, and like it's fun. But to me, it's just like, it's like looking at something from a different angle. It's like how you, like, when you're painting or drawing, they tell you to like put the canvas upside down and look at it that way to see if you like look at it from a different perspective. So like, from that, like, I like doing that. And like the same thing with Anno 1800, it doesn't let you do anything as advanced as adventure mode by any means, but you can go into first person mode in this big city builder and just walk around your city. And I feel like that does a lot to like kind of like, oh, this is how this is a good way for, this looks better. Like, this sightline's ruined by this building, so let's move that over there and stuff like that. So to me, that's how I use it, or how I used to use it in Dwarf Fortress. I haven't played it's probably years since I played Dwarf Fortress with that kind of vigor.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for it. I think it's a neat idea.
Oh, it's very neat.
Yeah.
It's nifty even.
Nifty.
Yeah.
All right. Well, got any more games you've been playing or anything else to share?
That's all I got.
All right.
Another shortish one, but I think we got through quite a bit.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening to the podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think we avoided. We caught ourselves rambling pretty early on. So we put a stop to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you liked it, subscribe to it, and or leave a review. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Send us an email at thesavestatepodcast@gmail.com, or any of our social medias at thesavestatepod.
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. Play Pokemon Go. Like, just get outside and walk around. And I know the weather's not amazing, but, you know, you never know when a wild Scott Keratopoulos might appear.
Yeah, hopefully that
might be a shiny. Could be a shiny.
All right, thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.
Bye.